You might think the last thing the Secret Service would consider is transporting a US president inside a gangster's car. But they did. It was December 8, 1941, just one day after the Pearl Harbor attack. President Franklin D. Roosevelt needed to go from the White House to Congress to declare war on Japan. However, due to the sensitivity of the situation, the presidential car was deemed unsafe as it had no protective armor or bulletproof glass. Back then, the US government was not allowed to spend more than $750 on the purchase of any single automobile, and a bulletproof car cost way more than that. According to Michael Riley, Roosevelt's head of the Secret Service, it just happened that the infamous gangster Al Capone had a vehicle with bulletproof glass that had been seized 9 years earlier by the Treasury Department. This is how Roosevelt became the first US president to ride in an armored vehicle. Fast forward a few decades, and after a number of failed and unfortunately successful assassination attempts on US presidents, we've learned that a convertible is not a wise choice for transporting a president. The White House is now comfortable spending $300 to $400 million each year just to securely transport the President of the United States. Within each presidential motorcade, there are a few dozen vehicles, including police cars, Secret Service SUVs, ambulances, and the 2 identical presidential limousines. These 2 limos have bomb-proof bottoms, bulletproof doors and windows, and carry a variety of weapons on board. No wonder each limo weighs between 15,000 and 20,000 pounds. Additionally, 2 bags with the president's blood type are always carried on board in case of an emergency. Let's say the president is campaigning and has to visit multiple cities in one day. Each city requires its own motorcade, which means all the required vehicles, including the 2 limos, are forward deployed to those cities prior to the president's arrival. This redundancy is necessary for maintenance and other unexpected circumstances, which explains why the president would have so many limos. The costs associated with running a motorcade are huge, but not as significant when compared to the cost of transporting the secure package in the first place. The secure package is part of the motorcade, made up of the 2 limos and a few Secret Service SUVs that immediately surround the limos. Before the president leaves the White House, the vehicles that make up the secure package are loaded into C-17 Globemaster or C-5 Galaxy cargo planes. Operating these heavy transport aircraft, which belong to the US Air Force, is not cheap. We're talking $100,000 or more per flight hour. If the president needs to fly somewhere not too far from the White House, Marine One lands on the South Lawn to pick him up. Marine One is the call sign for any Marine helicopter carrying the president. For longer distances, the president flies on Air Force One, which is the call sign for any Air Force aircraft carrying the sitting president. Air Force One is a military version of the Boeing 747, and there are 2 of them in service. One is the president's transport, and the other is nicknamed the Doomsday plane, serving as a command center, including orders to launch nuclear weapons. Over the years, the call sign Air Force One has expanded to include Marine One, Army One, Navy One, Ground Force One, and even the unofficial Rail Force One, each referring to a specific transport used by the president. Ground Force One refers to the black armored bus used for longer road trips, and there are 2 of these buses in service. Rail Force One is used to refer to the overnight train that took President Biden from Poland to Ukraine to visit Kyiv in February 2023. Executive One is the call sign used when a president is on a civilian aircraft, which is a rare occurrence due to security reasons. In conclusion, the transportation of the US president involves intricate planning and substantial costs, ensuring the safety and security of the nation's leader during official functions and travel.